إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أيها المسلمون أما بعد أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله في السر والعلن. All praise due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We send prayers and salutation for the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I advise myself and you, all brothers and sisters in Islam, to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have the consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fi sirri wal alan, in the secret and the open. وَعَلَمُوا رَعَاكُمُ اللَّهِ أن الواجب على كل مسلم. Know that the most obligation upon each and every Muslim, حماية دينه من كل ما يناقضه أو ينقصه. One must protect his religion from that which will oppose it, or that which will reduce its completeness or correctness. كلنا نخاف من الأمراض الخطيرة. Most of us we fear, or all of us we fear, these bad diseases that we hear about, كالسرطان, like cancer, وغيرها, and some other type of disease. فإن كان الأمر كذلك فهناك أعظم وأخطر مرض من السرطان. There is a disease that is more dangerous, that is more evil than cancer. وهو الذي يسبب حبوط الأعمال. It is a disease that will be a reason for one's deeds to be invalid and nullified. ويخلد صاحبه في النار. ويخلد صاحبه في النار. And it will be a reason for someone to remain in Jahannam forever. وَهُوَ أَبْغَضُ شَيْءٍ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. And it is the most hateful thing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَهُوَ الَّذِي يُفَرِّقُ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. It is the disease that separates between the people. وَهُوَ أَعْظَمُ ذَنْبٍ الَّذِي أُصْيَ اللَّهُ بِهِ. It is the greatest sin that Allah have been disobeyed with. It is the greatest form of injustice that they've done to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَمَا هُوَ هَذَا الْمَرَضِ الْخَطِيرِ وَذَنْبِ الْعَظِيمِ. Which type of sickness or illness, and which type of sin is this great that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is disobeyed with? كَثِيرٌ مِنَّا لَا نَعْرِفُ. Most of us we do not know it. وَلَكِنْ أَوْ نَعْرِفُهُ وَلَكِنْ لَا نُبَالِ بِهِ. Or some of us we know it but we do not pay attention to it. أَوْ نَجْهَلُ حَقِيقَتَهُ. Or sometimes the reality of this disease we are ignorant of it. وَخُطُورَتِ, and it dangers. عباد الله إنه الشرك يا عباد الله. The greatest and the evil of all, the filthiest and the evil of all the sins and disease is الشرك بالله عز وجل. Association of partners with Allah. عباد الله أتدرون ما الشرك? Do you know the reality and what is shirk? أيها الموحدون فإن الشرك هو تسوية غير الله بالله فيما هو من خصائص الله وحقوقه. Shirk is making equal with Allah, with another than Allah, by associating partners with Allah with other things, by giving the right and the attribute of Allah to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. An example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deserves prayer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deserves salah and sujood. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deserves each and every form of worship. If you worship Allah with this type of worship or any other worship, then at the same time you give this worship to other than Allah, this is what is referred to as shirk, association of partners with Allah in the rights of Allah and the attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which are only belongs to Allah. فَإِنَّهُ أَظْلَمُ الظُّلْمِ. Very the shirk is the greatest form of injustice, وَأَكْبَرُ الْكَبَائِرِ, and the greatest of the major sins. فَمَا وَقَعَ عَبْدٌ فِي ذَنْبٍ أَخْطَرَ وَأَعْظَمْ مِنْهُ. The servant, the slave of Allah, has not fallen into a sin that is greater and dangerous than shirk. قال الله تعالى, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. Verily shirk is the greatest form of injustice. وقال الله جل جلاله إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به. Allah said, verily, I do not forgive shirk. Allah do not forgive shirk. وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ. But Allah forgive the sins that are not at the level of shirk. وَمَنْ يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ افْتَرَى إِثْمًا عَظِيمًا. Whoever does shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has fabricated and committed a great sin. وَقَالَ سُبْحَانَهُ إِنَّهُ مَنْ يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ. Allah says, surely, whoever does shirk with Allah, whoever associates partners with Allah, فَقَدْ حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ الْجَنَّةَ. Allah has made al-Jannah forbidden for him. وَمَأْوَاهُ النَّارِ. And Jahannam will be his abode. وَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ أَنصَارٍ. Those who've wronged themselves by associating partners with Allah, they will not attain or get any help from Allah or other than Allah يوم القيامة. وقال جل جلاله وَلَقَدْ أُوحِيَ إِلَيْكَ. Allah said, we've sent a revelation to you, Ya Muhammad. وَإِلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ. As how we did send revelation to those that came before you from the messengers of Allah. لَإِنْ أَشْرَكْتَ. If you do associate partner with Allah, if you do associate partner with Allah, لَيَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكَ. لَامُ التَّوْكِيدِ وَنُونُ التَّوْكِيدِ. لَيَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكَ. Allah said, oh Muhammad, if you do shirk with Allah, all your deeds will be invalid. وَلَتَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Surely will be from the losers. This is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam Allah is speaking to. Allah said, لا يحبطن عملك. If you do shirk, Ya Muhammad, your deeds will be nullified and you will be from the losers. This is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What do you think about us? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praised the Prophet in Surah Al-An'am. He said, فَبِهُدَاهُ مِقْتَدِي. The guidance of these prophets, these messengers, this is what you should follow and imitate. But at the same time, when it comes to shirk, Allah said, وَلَوْ أَشْرَكُوا. If these prophets of Allah, وَلَوْ أَشْرَكُوا, they were to associate partners with Allah, حَبِطَ عَنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. All of their deeds will be nullified. All of their deeds will be invalid. These are the prophets of Allah. If Allah can say this to the prophets of Allah, why do you think about yourself? What do you think about yourself, your brothers and sisters in Islam? If Allah can say to the prophet, if you do shirk, your deeds will be nullified. If you associate partners with Allah, your deeds will be nullified. Allah said to the prophets of Allah about shirk, what do you think about yourself? You need to take precaution and avoid shirk as much as you can so that you be saved yawm al-qiyamah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Verily those who disbelieved by associating partners with Allah, لَهُمْ نَارُ جَهَنَّمْ. Jahannam will be their abode. لا يقضى عليهم فيموتوا. They will not be there and punished for some time and they will pass away. لا ولا يخفف عنهم عنهم من عذابها. And the punishment of Jahannam will not be reduced for them. كذلك نجزي كل كفور. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards everyone who disbelieves in Him. وهم يسترخون فيها. They will be shouting, they will be crying in Jahannam. ربنا أخرجنا نعمل صالحا. Oh Allah, give us a chance to go to the world so that we can do good deeds. الذي كنا نعمل, as we used to do. أولم نعمركم. It has not been given you a time in the dunya so that you can stay there for some time. ما يتذكر فيه. It has not come to you reminders from Allah. من تذكر. And those who have pondered and remembered and do good deeds, they've done that. وَجَاءَكُمُ النَّذِيرُ. They have come to you, a warner, a caller. فَذُوقُوا. Test the punishment of Allah. Test the punishment of Jahannam. فَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِن نَصِيرٍ. Those who wrong themselves, there will be no help for them. روى الإمام مسلم في صحيحه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من لقي الله لا يشرك به شيئا دخل الجنة ومن لقيه يشرك به شيئا دخل النار. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in a hadith narrated by Imam Muslim radiyallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, whoever meets Allah yawm al-qiyamah without associating partners with Allah, without making rivals with Allah, will be from the people of Jannah. وَمَنْ لَقِيَهُ يُشْرِكُ بِهِ شَيْئًا دَخَلَ النَّارَ. And whoever meets Allah yawm al-qiyamah whilst he has associated partners with Allah without repenting from that, he will be from the people of Jahannam, the dwellers of Jahannam. وروى الإمام البخاري من حديث عبد الله بن مسعود رضي الله تعالى عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من مات وهو يدعو من دون الله ندا دخل النار. Al-Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah, from the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, whoever passed away whilst the person is calling a rival, he is making rivals with Allah, he is associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world, دخل النار, he will be from the people of Jahannam. وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال اجتنبوا سبع الموبقات. Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه said, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, اجتنبوا سبع الموبقات, abstain and keep away from 7 destructive sins, 7 deadly sins. قالوا يا رسول الله وما هن. The companions, they were eager to know these deadly sins so that they can abstain from it and avoid it. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم الشرك بالله عز وجل. From these deadly sins and the filthiest of sins and the destructive sins, the first one the Prophet mentioned is what? الشرك بالله عز وجل. شرك بالله عز وجل. الحديث. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أكبر كبائر الإشراك بالله. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, the greatest of the major sins is associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قلت ما سمعتم وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله على إحسانه وشكر له على توفيقه وامتنانه. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله تعظيما لشانه وأشهد أن محمد عبده ورسوله الداعي إلى رضوانه. أيها المسلمون عباد الله رحمني الله وإياكم. ولخطورة الشرك, because of the dangers of shirk, كان الصالحون من الأنبياء يخافون منه. That is why the prophets of Allah, the prophets and the righteous, they used to have fear for shirk. وكانوا يحذرون أنفسهم وكانوا يحذرون أنفسهم. They used to take precaution. يحذرون أنفسهم وأقوامهم, and their people, they used to take precaution, warn themselves and their people to abstain from shirk. وهذا إبراهيم عليه السلام كان من أعظم الناس خوفا من الشرك. This is Ibrahim alayhi salam. He was the greatest of the people that used to fear shirk. من غيره بل كان يدعو ربه أن يجنبه وذريته من الشرك. He used to seek refuge from Allah so that Allah protect him and his offspring from shirk. قال سبحانه وتعالى عنه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about him. He said, وَجُنُوبِنِي وَمَنِيَّ. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he said, oh Allah, protect me, keep me far away and my offspring, and نَعْبُدَ الْأَصْنَامِ, so that and نَعْبُدَ الْأَصْنَامِ, protect us and keep away from shirk, protect us and my offspring from shirk, and نَعْبُدَ الْأَصْنَامِ, not to associate partners with you. رَبِّ إِنَّهُنَّ أَضْلَلْنَ كَثِيرًا مِنَ النَّاسِ. Because these things that people worship, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they've misled and misguided a lot of people. Some people can say, today we have shirk, but the shirk we have is not the same shirk. Or sometimes they can even say there is no shirk. We say, nah, shirk does not limit to worshiping idols only. Shirk does not limit to worshiping idols only. Shirk does not limit to worship awthan only. Supplicating to other than Allah, this is shirk. Seeking refuge from other than Allah, this is shirk. Shirk is not limited to one action. Shirk is not limited to one action. Do not have this wrong understanding of shirk. Verily, shirk is not limited to one understanding, one thing. Shirk is has a different type of it. وكان يعقوب عليه السلام في لحظة خروج الروح يخاف من الشرك. Yaqub alayhi salam, when he is at the state of death, the soul is going away, he was having a fear of shirk, was having a lot of fear and a great fear in his heart for shirk, for associating partner with Allah, for himself and his children. قال سبحانه أم كنتم شهداء. Were you witness إذ حضر يعقوب الموت, when death came to Yaqub alayhi salam, إذ قال لبنيه, when Yaqub alayhi salam, he said to his children, ما تعبدون من بعدي إذ قال لبني ما تعبدون من بعدي. Yaqub alayhi salam, he is at the state of death. Today, when death comes to us, what we will think is that this money, this house, this and that. This is the Prophet of Allah. He is at the point of death. Sakaratul maut yati ilayh. Faqala ma ta'buduna min ba'di. He said, oh my children, what are you going to worship after me? Have you ever sat with your children? Have you ever asked your children, what are you going to worship after me? Have you ever done that? Have you ever talked to your family? Speak to your family. Warn them against shirk. Sometimes even the parents, they are those that bring shirk into the homes. This is Yaqub alayhi salam. He is at the point of death. Luxuries, properties, dunya, money is not his concern. His concern is, Ma ta'abuduna min ba'di. What are you going to worship after me? This should be the concern for every parent. This should be the concern for every household. This should be the concern for everyone in the marketplace, in the schools, everywhere. Ma ta'abuduna min ba'di. What are you going to worship after me? Are you going to do shirk? Are you going to assist partners with Allah with me? Ma ta'abuduna min ba'di. This is the Prophet of Allah. We need to learn examples. We need to follow the footsteps of these people. Alayhimus salam. قال ما تعبدون من بعدي. He said, what are you going to worship after me? قالوا نعبد إلهك. They said, we're going to worship your Lord, your Ilah, وإلهك وإله آبائك, and the Lord of your father, Ibrahim, Ismail and Ishaq, إلها واحدا. This is one Lord that we're going to worship. وَنَحْنُ لَهُ مُسْلِمُونَ. We're going to submit to Him. We're going to abstain from each form of shirk. وَكَانَ يُوسُف عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ. Yusuf, the Prophet of Allah, في السجن. He was in a jail. He was in a cell, struggling. ولكن كان يخاف على الناس أن يقعوا في الشرك. Even though he was in the jail, Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was in fear that his people will do shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, if we are in the jail, we are in the cell, our concern will be when we will be removed from there. That will be our concern. But this is the Prophet of Allah, Yusuf alayhi salam. He is in the cell, he is in the jail, struggling. No proper food, no proper shelter. But yet, he was having fear that his people will fall into shirk. قال سبحانه أَأَرْبَابٌ مُتَفَرِّقُونَ خَيْرٌ أَمِ اللَّهِ. Indeed, the things that people call, the different ilahs, the different things that people associate partners with Allah with, are they better? خَيْرٌ أَمِ اللَّهِ. Or Allah is the one that deserves to be worshipped. Is the one that deserves to be called أَمِ اللَّهِ الْوَاحِدُ الْقَهَّارُ. بَلْ وَكَانَ النَّبِيُّ صلى الله عليه وسلم. But the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, we have the Imam al-Muwahhidin, the father of the people of Tawheed. يَخَافُ عَلَى أَصْحَابِهِ فَالشِّرْكِ. The Prophet ﷺ used to fear shirk for himself and his companions. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن أخوف ما أخاف عليكم الشرك الأصغر. The Prophet ﷺ, he used to have fear for the Sahaba not to fall into shirk. He said, verily, what I fear for you most, إن أخوف صيغة المبالغة إن أخوف ما أخاف عليكم. What I fear for you most is what? A shirk. Associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَكَيْفَ بِهَذِي الْأَخْبَارِ كُلْهَا لَا يَخَافُ الْمُسْلِمِ مِنَ الشِّرْكِ. With all of these informations, all of these stories, all of these histories from the prophets, the righteous, why does the Muslim does not fear shirk? Look, Luqman alayhi salam, Abu radiyallahu anhu, he was advising his children and his son. He was giving him a lot of advice, but the greatest of the advice that he gave his son, وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. He gave me a lot of advice, but the greatest of this advice he gave him, he said, oh my son, do not do shirk with Allah. Do not associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَكَيْفَ لَا يَحْذَرَ الْمُسْلِمُ نَفْسَهُ وَأَهْلَهُ مِنَ الشِّرْكِ. How the Muslim cannot protect himself and prevent himself and his family and warn them from shirk. How? With all of these dangers that shirk has. والله يجب علينا جميعا أن نهتم بمعرفة حقيقة الشرك. It is must upon all of us to pay attention to know the reality of shirk, to learn what shirk is. What is shirk? What is shirk? So people today, the definition they have for shirk is, if you go to Sosra or a fortune teller, you ask him so that for something that is going to happen to you, they said this is not shirk. They said Allah said you should help yourself before I can help you. The statement is true, but what is intent behind it is false. Now help yourself by doing the righteous things, not helping yourself by associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, people have different definition of shirk. People have different definition of shirk. What is shirk? It is upon us all to have to give a lot of intention and concern to learn the reality of shirk. Because the prayer, the fasting, the hajj, all of the deeds that we do, it will not be accepted the moment we fall into shirk and it will be invalid completely. This is not my statement. This is the statement of Allah. وَلَوْ أَشْرَكُوا لَحَبِطَ عَنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. If they do shirk, their deeds will be nullified. It is upon us all to make any effort to learn and understand the reality of shirk so that we abstain from it. Ya Abdullah, Ya Abdullah, لا يمكن أن تخاف من الشيء الذي لا تعرف حقيقته وخطورته. It is not possible for you to avoid something, to fear something which you do not know the reality of it. It is not possible. So if you want to fear shirk, take your time to learn what shirk is. Know the reality of shirk. Hanging amulets. How many houses of the Muslims today? There are a lot of amulets hung up there. Their shops, their place of work. How many houses? We have a lot of different types of shirk. Some of us go to fortune tellers. We ask them about everything that we want to do. Even if we want to marry, we want to travel. We go to fortune tellers. We ask them different things about our life, about the future. These are from the different types of shirk that we fall into, but we are not aware about it. We must pay attention to this. Some of us might fall into shirk, but we are ignorant about the reality of shirk. So that is why we do not care. Ya ibadallah. اهتموا بأمري يعني بمعرفة الشرك. Pay attention. Learning the reality of shirk, learning the dangers of shirk to avoid it is greater than learning prayer. It's greater to learn prayer than, it's greater to learn the reality of shirk than to learn about prayer. Why? Because the prayer cannot be accepted if there is shirk. The fasting cannot be accepted if there is shirk. All of this cannot be accepted if there is shirk. Then, ما لا يتم الواجب إلا به فهو واجب. If your deen, your prayer, your fasting, your hajj cannot be correct except you know shirk and abstain from it, then you know the opposite of shirk is tawheed, your family to eat. There is must upon us all to learn shirk and know the reality of it so that we can abstain from it. Someone can say, we are all Muslims. Yes, we are all Muslims. But Allah said in the Quran, وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ. Most people that claim to be Muslims, they are not Muslims in reality. This is not my statement. وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِاللَّهِ. Allah said most of the people that claim to believe in Allah, that claim to be Muslims, they are not Muslims. They are mushrikun. وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ. You claim to be Muslim. You go to fortune teller, you ask him about your future. You claim to be Muslim. You go to the graveside of your Seratuba or other people. You claim to be a Muslim. You go to the grave of Ahmad Tijjan. You claim to be Muslim. You worship graves of people. You claim to be Muslim. You worship the grave of Prophet Muhammad. You claim to be Muslim. You worship people other than Allah. Is this Islam? Is this Islam? No, this is not Islam. This is not Islam. Islam is to call Allah alone. وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهِ. This is the Islam the Prophet ﷺ brought to us. The Prophet ﷺ said, اللهم لا تجعل قبري وطنا يعبد. He said, oh Allah, do not make my grave as a place of worship. Do not make my grave as a thing that people worship beside Allah. Today we worship graves. We travel miles, thousands of miles to worship graves. We spend money, we spend luxuries to worship graves, to call other than Allah. We spend everything. All of this just to associate with Allah. وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ. Most people that claim to be Muslims, wallahi, they are not Muslims. May Allah save us and rectify our affairs. أيها المسلمون تعلموا التوحيد. It's upon us all to learn Tawheed, to learn the reality of Tawheed, to act upon it. وتعلموا الشرك. Learn the reality of shirk and abstain from it. Because your deeds cannot be accepted. All of your deeds cannot be accepted except you are free from shirk. All of your prayer cannot be accepted except you are free from shirk. اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين واذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر اعداء الدين. اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين واذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر اعداء الدين. اللهم انصر المسلمين في كل مكان. اللهم انصر المسلمين في كل مكان. اللهم بارك في بلاد المسلمين. اللهم بارك في بلاد المسلمين واحفظ ولاة امور المسلمين واهديهم لما فيه صلاح العباد والبلاد. اللهم اهديهم لما فيه صلاح العباد والبلاد. اللهم اهديهم لما فيه صلاح العباد والبلاد. اللهم ول امورنا خيارنا ولا تول امورنا شرارنا. اللهم لا تسلط علينا بذنوبنا من لا يخافك ولا يخشاك ولا يرحمنا. اللهم احفظ غمبيا من كل سوء. اللهم احفظ سيرالو من كل سوء واحفظ بلاد المسلمين من كل سوء. اللهم احفظ بلاد المسلمين من كل سوء. اللهم احفظ اخواننا في فلسطين. اللهم احفظ اخواننا في فلسطين وفي غزة وفي سوريا وفي كل مكان. اللهم انصرنا ولا تنصر علينا. اللهم انصرنا ولا تنصر علينا. اللهم انصرنا ولا تنصر علينا. اللهم حقق التوحيد والسنة في قلوبنا. اللهم حقق التوحيد والسنة في قلوبنا. اللهم حقق التوحيد والسنة في قلوبنا. اللهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك، ويا مصرف القلوب صرف قلوبنا على طاعتك. اللهم صرف قلوبنا على طاعتك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين.